our European football expert, Julien Laurens, joins us this morning. Julien, good morning.
Hello, guys.
Good morning to you, sir. Julien, we'll maybe talk about France and Qatar in a moment, but certainly tonight in your native La Belle France, Tottenham Hotspur head south to Marseille. What kind of Marseille are they coming up against tonight, Julien?
Well, it's a Marseille team that has been struggling a little bit of late, Jim. They no wins in 4 in Ligue 1, 3 defeats and a draw at the weekend away at Strasbourg when they were in control of the game, 2-0 up, and then conceded 2 late goals. They haven't played well last week either in the Champions League against Frankfurt in Germany, but they still can qualify. If they win against Spurs tonight, they will go through. This is an amazing group, really, where all 4 teams can finish first or bottom of that group, depending on what happened tonight with Sporting and Frankfurt in the other game as well. So they have to believe. They're saying over there in Marseille that this is the biggest game of the season. It's the biggest game for the club in a very long time as well, because if they were to get a win tonight, and one achievement that will be really, it would be the last 16 of the Champions League, which would be massive for Marseille.
Sure thing. The Marseille Ultras, who seem like a very nice bunch of people, were letting off fireworks reportedly in the early hours of the morning outside the Tottenham Hotel. Nothing new in that, but whether it disrupts them or not, I don't know. It's not normality for Tottenham tonight, though, as you know, Julien, because Conte is serving a touchline ban tonight.
Yeah.
So things maybe not as Tottenham would wish them to be going into this.
No, you're right. No Conte on the bench. No Conte, by the way, in the dressing room, either before the game or at halftime. He's suspended from everything. So he will be in the stands in the director's box, which would be very different for the players. We know how he is on the touchline and the energy that he gives to the players. And he talks a lot. He's standing up pretty much all the time. So it will feel different for the players. The atmosphere will be hostile at the Velodrome. You mentioned the Ultras. We knew that they were going to do that kind of stuff in the fireworks outside the hotel at 3 a.m. Although part of the Velodrome is closed because of the sanction from UEFA after the crowd trouble that we saw in the Frankfurt game, which is a shame because I think Marseille would want the whole stadium packed full, like fully behind the team, which might not be completely the case, but still you will have 55,000 in the stadium, 1,700 Spurs fans, and I really hope that there's no crowd trouble in the stadium, outside in the city centre in Marseille between the two sets of fans, because this is an amazing game, really. There's a lot obviously at stake, a lot of pressure for both clubs, because I think it would be a huge failure for Conte and Spurs if they were knocked out tonight. So a lot to play for, but let's hope that we see a great game both on and off the pitch.
I mean, it's not as if Julian doesn't know a lot about the opponent. Alexis Sanchez in there, Nuno Tavares, Matteo Guendouzi, Kolasinac is in and about the scene there. So he knows all about Marseille and he knows their personnel.
Oh, massively. And I think he was very clever from Marseille to put up Alexis Sanchez for the press conference yesterday, because obviously all the questions were, well, not all of them, but most of them were about his time at Arsenal, all the goals he scored for Arsenal against Spurs, all the wins that he got with Arsenal against Spurs as well, and him basically saying, I really hope I can do the same on Tuesday night. Alexis has been interesting. He's been really great at the start when Marseille were flying and they were unbeaten in 7 weeks or so. Now, since they've hit that rough patch, he's been struggling. He's a bit too isolated up front. Igor Tudor, the manager, plays a slightly different formation where they're not as attacking maybe, and Alexis doesn't have as much support as he used to earlier in the season. So it'd be interesting to see how Marseille approach that game tonight, because they need a win, as we said, but if they go for it too quickly and too early, they might get caught, and if Kane and Son score 1 or maybe 2, then the game is over. So it'd be very interesting to see how they approach that game.
Julien, what kind of game do you envisage? We had Tim Sherwood in the studio earlier on talking about Tottenham can't be in a position to be overly defensive, because if they get themselves into that mode and go a goal behind, they're going to have difficulty getting out of that mode. What sort of game do you envisage, but bearing in mind there's jeopardy in it for both teams?
I mean, Marseille usually with Tudor play high-intensity football, high press everywhere on the pitch, which I think will suit Spurs, because that means Marseille usually leave a lot of space in behind their back three, which for Kane and Son and Lucas Moura, if he starts, is perfect. So I think Marseille right now are thinking, okay, maybe we can play a bit deeper, leave the ball to Spurs, which often, apart on set pieces, they can't really create when they have the ball. This is not their game. Their game is very much quick transition forward on the counter. When they play in your own half, they struggle a little bit more, and then Marseille can hit them on the counter, and they've got enough pace with Alexis, Harit, Cengiz Ünder, those kind of players with the wing backs as well. So I think this is probably what Tudor is going to do. What you don't want from Marseille is concede early like they've done already this season in the Champions League against Frankfurt, against Sporting, because I think if Spurs score early, then as you say, Simon, is the other way around. And I think for Marseille,
do we take anything from the first game? I mean, both of these teams have got this strange relationship with the other teams in the tournament. Sporting Lisbon seem to have Spurs' number, whereas Marseille have had their number. The first game, Spurs won 2-0. Do we take anything from these dynamics?
Yeah, I think if you remember, Spurs struggled to bring Marseille down, even when Marseille went down to 10 men at the start of the second half. Richarlison scored 2 late headers. And we know that set pieces or crosses from wide, especially with Perisic, is the danger from Spurs. They scored 2 against Bournemouth at the weekend like that. And Marseille will have to defend better those crosses and those set pieces. But I don't think it'll be easy for Spurs, even if they have to be favourite because they're the better squad on paper. It won't be easy for them at all tonight.
Just on the world champions, your own French squad, Julien, are you concerned about one or two of the high-profile players who appear now not to be going to make it to Qatar?
Yeah, I think it's a concern, Jim. No Pogba, no Conte now for sure. I think Varane will be okay, but it's still not ideal that he's injured now. He's in Clairefontaine doing his rehab. But no Pogba, no Conte, even if they haven't been as good as since 2018, they are still your most experienced players. I mean, Pogba has 91 caps, which is more on his own than all the 6 or 7 players that can replace him. The Chouamenis, the Rabios, the Guendouzis, the Fofanas. All those players don't even have together as many caps as Paul has on his own. So losing Conte and Pogba, even if they were not at their best, is a huge blow for Deschamps. He will have to work another midfield, and maybe that kind of adversity will help the team to get even more together. We still have enough talent to go find the competition, but yeah, this is not the best preparation for sure.
Okay, Julien Laurens, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Julien. And just a reminder, tonight it's live in talkSPORT. Conte and Tottenham going against Marseille. As I say, you'll hear it right here with us.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.